didn't make the rules. This is the society we live in. I'm just breaking it down for you guys. I'm just breaking it down for y'all. Like, I didn't make these rules. That's just the way society works and how it's been working. So for people to be all up in their feelings about how things are, you just might have to just take that up with God. Hey everyone, it's your girl, Destiny Love, aka The Confident Hoe. Welcome to my YouTube channel if you're new here. Welcome back if you are returning. So this is a part 2 video of, for my original video, All Women Are Hoes. I'm doing a part 2 video tonight, so hopefully you guys can hear me because I don't want to be too loud because it is late. I decided to do this video late. I wanted to do it earlier, but things happen, life happens. So I was running errands earlier. So anyway, this is a part 2 video to a video that I did 5 years ago. That's still my most trending video to date, okay? And if you haven't watched that video yet, I highly suggest for you to watch that video first and then come back to this video. And before I even go into today's topic, part 2 of All Women Are Hoes, I just want to say that everyone can put the blame on me, okay? Please put the blame on me as to why all women are behaving more and more like hoes, right? Because I technically started speaking about this, you know, the whole culture and stuff like that years ago. So y'all can blame me. It's me. I think I'm the one who started it. Nah, but if it makes you feel better, sure, you can blame the confident hoe, okay? As to why all women are hoes for real this time, okay? So as we all know, within the recent years, there's been like, you know, a trend. Like people have been trending. There's been like a trend of women behaving like hoes, right? And technically, and I explained this in my All Women Are Hoes video, technically the word hoe is a slur, right? It's a derogatory term, and it has always been used as a slur in order to control and divide women, okay? Let me just stress that and put that out there. So in this era where in the media, such as like the music and films, what have you, especially in music, you hear a lot of songs from female rappers that are geared toward women that behave like hoes. So to me, as technically an adult entertainer, a sex worker, I never really thought about it. I never really thought that women who are so-called good girls or who behave like good girls started to become that deeply influenced by the music. But at the same time, I can understand, especially like young women, like 18 to 21, or even up until, 25, whatever. I can see how, young women can be easily influenced by the media, especially young women of color, because we want to feel, we want to feel loved, seen, and the idea of behaving like a hoe seems glamorous. Okay, so I want to touch base on that later on in the video, but yeah, basically, and I keep looking down because of my notes. Even though there are women who are influenced by this music, there are also women who consider themselves to be good girls who's repelled by this kind of music, the Cardi B's music, City Girl music, Megan Thee Stallion music. They are repelled by this music because they don't want to be associated with women who consider themselves to be a hoe or, behave like hoes, whether they consider themselves to be a hoe or not. When women say that they're a city girl or a hot girl, things like that, you're really ultimately saying that you're technically a hoe. That's ultimately what you're saying. So my whole point is that with the rise of hoe culture, a lot of women don't realize that they are being influenced to behave like hoes and eventually become an adult entertainer or a sex worker, because ultimately, if you're doing any form of adult entertainment, whether that's OnlyFans, being a stripper at the strip club, whatever, that is considered sex work. That is a part of adult entertainment. And if you want to be technical, society thinks that women and hoes are two completely different species, which is kind of weird because women and hoes are synonymous. Like, to say a woman is a hoe is like saying a hoe is a woman. It's literally synonyms of each other. The only difference is that women who consider themselves to be hoes are usually in adult entertainment. They are sex workers. That's technically what makes them a hoe. Women who are usually slut-shamed or called sluts are usually the women who enjoy sex. I did a short about this. Are women who enjoy sex, and people like to label this as promiscuous, fast, loose, all to police women. All of these labels, whether you want to accept if you're a hoe or not, whatever, if you want to accept these words, you don't have to. That's ultimately up to you. But all of these labels are used to control, police, stigmatize, stereotype you. Up until recently, with the word fuckboy, I don't even know if I could even say the word, but F-boy, before that word started surfacing around to basically mean the same thing to men, what hoe means to women, or, make men feel the same way about that word F-boy, like how women would feel about the word hoe, right? That's a new thing. F-boy is a new thing. That's a new word that's being used to shame men. But that hasn't always been around. There's never been, before fuckboy, there has never been a word for men to make them feel ashamed for sleeping around. Never. Because, in fact, men used to be praised for sleeping around. They used to, you know what I'm saying? Like, especially in their friend groups, people will be like, oh, yeah, you the man if you getting all this pum-pum. So, like, before the word F-boy, there was no word to shame men. So this is why men felt like it was okay to just do whatever the hell they want, because they would never get shamed for it. They would never be stigmatized for it. So one of the reasons why I feel like the whole culture has influenced many women now, aside from just the music actually being really good. The music is good. Like, you could dance to it, you can have fun, and to some women it is very liberating. It hasn't been done in a really long time. Like, who was it? I think it was Samora, the comedian. I hope I'm saying her name right, Samora. She said that in her set, she said something about how Salt and Pepper is like the city girls of, for back in the day. And that's so true. Like, this music is really like nothing new technically, because you had Little Kim, even, you know, when Nicki Minaj first came out. Like, so this music is really not that new. It's just more vulgar, I guess you could say. It's more out there, and it's attracting women, but at the same time making men upset. And I feel like the main reason why is because of the capitalistic country we live in. It's because of the economy we live in. It's because a lot of people of color lives in poverty, or is like middle class. And I don't even know if middle class even exists, because nowadays it's literally you poor or you rich. Either you got a lot of money or you just don't. So because of that, of course, this lifestyle seems glamorous to a lot of women. Because of that, a lot of men who especially feel like they're not making a lot of money, especially a lot of men of color, may feel a way about the influx of women wanting money for their time and attention, right? Because they cannot afford to come out of pocket. They can't afford to come out of pocket. So now you have like a whole bunch of men. You have a whole bunch of men who's upset about women taking their time seriously or attempting to dabble in entertainment, in you know, in adult entertainment, or, you know, sex work or whatever, whether they realize it or not, right? So you have a lot of men feeling away because for a long time, men been getting, when they do get pum pum, they usually can get it for free. They usually can get it for free. Or they usually can get it for minimum effort. I could say that. And a lot of men would sometimes pretend to want a relationship just for pum pum, or just for consistent pum pum. So I say all that to say that even with those guys, I heard of like the passport bros or whoever, these men who's going to other countries where they want to fetishize foreign women. But not only that, not only are they fetishizing foreign women, but they know that they can get pum pum for a way cheaper rate outside of America. They have to go to third world countries to get pum pum. Believe it or not, a lot of women who even do sex work wouldn't even call themselves a hoe. They wouldn't say they're a hoe. So it's like, so who's the hoes then? Who are these magical creatures that everybody is talking about, but nobody is claiming to be? Who are they? Where are they? Because I've never even heard city girls call themselves, well, have they? I think they may have. I would have, if I was to listen to every single track that city girls have ever made, I'm pretty sure they may have called themselves a hoe. And that's why I said in one of my shorts that Suki Hana the GOAT, shout out to her. She's a real ass hoe. She's a confident hoe. She's a confident hoe. Because, listen, she'll call herself every name in the book. And this is what I want to stress. This is what I want to stress. Whether you're in the industry of adult entertainment or not, right? You are still subjected to possibly being slut shamed, okay? Whether you are in the adult industry or not, there's a chance that you may dabble in some form of sex work, whether you claim to be a hoe or not. Whether you are in the adult entertainment industry or not, or whether you call yourself a hoe or not, you are still, there's still a chance for you to be harmed in the street due to men aggressively catcalling, because they do that sometimes, especially as a black woman. Let's just keep it a buck, especially as a black woman. So when you focus on labels, when you focus on doing your best to follow the rules of a patriarchal society, for whatever reason, whether it's to validate men, whether it's because you want to become a wife, whether it's because you want to please your family or you don't want to disappoint your family, whatever the reason, right, as to why you wouldn't want to call yourself a hoe, but you'd suggest that you're a good girl in your behavior. Not saying that you go around saying, oh, I'm a good girl, I'm a good girl, but you suggest it in your behavior. And for some women, it's in a very, I guess you can say, desperate way. A lot of women desperately want to not be associated with women who they believe are hoes, because of how much we allow labels to keep us in a chokehold. So I was watching this YouTuber named Yani, Yani Straight Chaser, Real Talk, Straight No Chaser, something like that. I'll link her YouTube channel below. But I've actually been binge watching her, and she be touching on some good information. Like, I really liked watching her. So I don't know if it's like a recent video or an old video. I don't know. I just click on whatever's suggested to me. So there was this one video that I was watching from her, and she mentioned how women's beauty is our capital, right? End quote. So that's what she mentioned, and I definitely agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I feel like when a woman's beauty and her body, her health, especially, is her capital. Because we live in an era where, for some reason, and I'll do a YouTube video about this. This is another topic, but we live in an era where people low-key, I don't know, like, people kind of come off like low-key, like pedophiles-ish. I don't even know if I could say that, but because we glorify women ages 18 to 21. And by the time you're 25, you're old. And God forbid if you're 30, you're like damaged goods or whatever. It's like there's so many rhetorics that men come up with because of their own perversion. Because of their own perversion. There's so many rhetorics and rules and regulations that men come up with. Because of their own perversion. Okay? So I feel like women's capital is their beauty, their body, their health, our body, our health is definitely our capital. And along with men's credibility, their status, their money is their capital. That's like, I didn't make the rules. This is the society we live in. I'm just breaking it down for you guys. I'm just breaking it down for y'all. Like, I didn't make these rules. That's just the way society works and how it's been working. So for people to be all up in their feelings about how things are, you just might have to just take that up with God. Because, like, first of all, a lot of men already feel entitled to women's bodies, women's time, you know, our bodies, our time, our energy, our attention. You know what I mean? Like, they feel like they must have sex with us because of the little effort that they have put in. And it's giving kind of rapey. It's giving kind of rapey. That's what it's giving. It's giving kind of R word. And I was actually watching this other video, which I'm going to also link below, where this woman, this black woman, was talking about, she was an older black woman actually, and she was talking about how men be expecting sex, okay? Men be expecting sex from women after a date. And she's like, well, if you expecting all of this after a date, and you get mad when a woman doesn't want to give you that after a date, and that's not what you guys have discussed beforehand or agreed on, okay? Because there are some women that are here who's okay with just having a date and just giving you pum-pum. But they are very far and few and wide and in between. A lot of women, most regular women who have a regular 9-to-5 job, okay, it's not going to make it that easy for you, which is why adult entertainers exist. So this older woman was saying how if you are expecting sex, then what you're looking for, or what you really need, is a sex worker. And shout out to that woman for saying sex worker. I think that's what she said. I think she said the word sex worker instead of saying prostitute. Like, yes, you better be elevated, miss. You know, I love that. I love that she called us sex workers. And I agree with that. And I feel like men don't want to... And granted, there are a lot of men who do hire sex workers, right? These are men who are business-minded, who's serious a lot of the times. You know what I'm saying? Because guess what? The industry has changed so much where $40 can't get you no pum-pum like how it did years and years ago. Okay? Maybe there might be a survival sex worker here and there. You know what I'm saying? That might, but even then, no. Actually, no. In this day and age, no. In 2023, in the year 2023, nah. Not even $100. I'm sorry. Sorry? Sorry? No. So, with that being said, a lot of men don't want to pay, feel like they're too good to pay, or feel too ashamed to pay. Right? So they would rather coerce women who are not in the industry and try to get sex that way by doing the same things that you would do when with a professional hoe. Okay? But except you want to do with a woman who you feel like is a regular woman or a good girl, aka a good girl. Because men like that want to feel in control. Men like that might be R-worders. Okay? So be careful. Be on the lookout for men like that. So again, even though there's been such an influx of women, either accepting that they're hoes and accepting this word and not feeling so, not looking at this word as a negative or a bad thing, right? Because of the media and the music, there's still a lot of women going into this realm not so aware of what comes with it, okay? So yes, the media likes to glamorize this lifestyle, but ultimately everything has its pros and cons, right? There's good and bad to every single thing. And the media doesn't stress that for real, right? The media doesn't stress, granted, there is a stigma when it comes to the lifestyle, which isn't the same as the reality of the lifestyle, okay? Let me just stress that. As somebody who's been in the adult entertainment industry for over 10 years, okay? The reality and the stigma of this sector of work is not the same, okay? The stigma is it's only dangerous. You're gonna get killed. What else? You can't have a boyfriend. You can't have a partner in general, whatever. You can't be in a relationship. Your family's gonna disown you. There's so many stigmas, right? But the reality is that it can be dangerous. It can get dangerous, but it's not always dangerous. It's not. Especially nowadays. Maybe back in the 80s, maybe in the 90s, maybe. But I'm not going to say it's 100% safe. No, of course not. Nothing is 100% safe. You driving in your car is not 100% safe. There's a possibility you could possibly, you could probably get into an accident, God forbid. You feel me? So the stigma is not the same as the reality. Another thing, it's not as fun as the media depicts it as. It's not that fun. Being an adult entertainer is not. It's actually a lot of work. It's hard work. It's a lot of work. It takes a lot of time, energy, dedication, discipline, focus. Okay? You have to wear so many hats, especially nowadays, as an adult entertainer. Okay? And let me just say what's under the umbrella of what being an adult entertainer consists of. OnlyFans girls. Okay? Many vids, clips for sales girls. Content creators, if you are doing any form of sexual teasing, or whether, even if you're half naked, if you get half naked on the internet and you're teasing, whatever, that's a form of sex work. Okay? Being a stripper, being an escort, of course, aka prostitute, webcam girl, sugar baby, hello, yes, y'all too. What else? Yeah, expensive girlfriend, whatever you want to call it, companion, socialites. Yep. Sex workers. Sex worker. Because the thing is, a lot of women is walking around thinking that they are not a sex worker, even though they have dabbled or dabble in sex work. Now, you do have women who have never dabbled in any form of sex work at all, right? But still have a fantasy sometimes about being a sex worker. because of especially of the media that's been influencing all of these women. And because of that, a lot of the women who fantasize about being sex workers sometimes come off as scammers because they don't know what they're doing, right? They come off as panhandlers, okay? Being a sex worker, being an adult entertainer, like I said, is hard work. You have to brand yourself. You have to know what sets you apart from others because, again, there's been an influx. There's been an influx of women. And for me, I love it because, again, women, for a long time, women haven't always been getting paid as much as men. Women have been inferior to men all throughout history. Okay? Women have been sexualized so much that it was technically men who came up with the idea of paying women for sex. Because once upon a time, it was at such a demand. But nowadays, with all women who are, yes, technically hoes, but don't know how to really behave like a professional hoe, or don't know that they are being influenced by hoe culture, right? They go into things, and this is just some women, and I've seen it for myself. They go into things feeling very entitled, right? So some women, whether they are actually sex workers or not, who go and get their body done, right? And then now they suddenly feel entitled to a man's money, right? But to be a sex worker means to perform a service. So if you don't want to perform this service or have no intentions of performing this service, you should not be demanding money. And even if you are a sex worker, and if you're new to the industry, welcome. But you should not be begging for money. Ever. Especially to my strippers at the strip club. Yes, the game has changed so much when it comes to the strip clubs. Again, I got y'all on that. That's a whole other topic for another day. But it's an art. It's an art to be a sex worker. It's a real job, and it's very serious. So again, I just want to stress how majority of men, if not all, already see women as hoes. All women. Whether you want to consider yourself a good girl, whether you already know you a hoe and you acknowledge and accept it, whatever. Whether you in between. I remember, I think Yani was talking about this in between thing. She kept just saying in between. And I was just like, girl, it's no in between. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're all the same. We're all one and the same. We're all one and the same. Ultimately, yeah, we all might do things a little different, of course, because we're all different. We all, technically, essentially, but we're all also the same. If that makes sense. Because most men see all women as hoes because they are expecting. They like, okay, they're very transactional too. So when we behave transactional with them, they are offended. Because they are the only ones who want to behave very transactional without you realizing. And that's how you get your fucking heart broken, sis. Hello? That's how you get your heart broken. So unless, if you are one of those women who's like, you know what? Destiny, I'm still not following. I'm not feeling it. I'm not getting it. And you feel like, I don't really feel like I'm really a good girl, but I'm also definitely not a hoe. I just really want to be in a relationship, sis. If you're really, really serious about really being in a relationship, right? My best advice, yes, coming from a hoe, is to just focus on you. All of the YouTube videos I watch, all of the popular black YouTube influencers, for Harriet, Kim, you know what I'm saying? Yani, and there's a couple of more I can't even think of right now. I was gonna say Black Femininity TV, but she does something else. All of the YouTube influencers, black YouTube influencers, are saying the same thing. Focus on yourself, sis. You want a nice relationship? You want a man that's on your level, who take you seriously, who you don't got to play with, who you don't got to explain things to, who you don't got to explain how to treat you? Focus on yourself. If you want to get your body done, get your body done. If you want to just go exercise, go exercise. Learn something. Learn something new. Learn other languages. Maybe the one is not the same race as you. Maybe he Asian. Maybe he Polish. Who knows? But when you focus on you, when you focus on yourself, and you focus on your health, I'm talking about mental health. I'm talking, and granted, it's gonna be hard, sis. It's gonna be hard, and I'm not saying, oh, don't have sex with niggas. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that, because you are a grown woman. If you want to have sex with somebody, do it. Make sure you use protection. Put a condom on, sis. Always put a condom on, sis. We also don't stress that, because guess what? We is not bringing no more babies into this world. We not. Unless you really want a child, then sure. Unless you really, really want a child, then sure. But the reason why I say we're not bringing no more babies into this world is because look at this world. This world is effed up. This world is messed up. So, and I love my sons. Even though they get on my nerves sometimes. I love them, even though they get on my nerves sometimes. But I feel for them for when they get older. Because it is this world we live in. With all of these politics and labels. It's crazy. And I also want to touch base on how little girls, y'all gonna be mad at me when I say this. It's not funny though. Because little girls are unfortunately being groomed and have always been groomed to become hoes anyway. And we not talking about it. What we do though, is we slut shame little girls. especially little girls of color, Black, Latino little girls. We slut shame little girls. Oh, she looked too grown. She looked, why she dressed like, and we may not probably do it no more nowadays. I really don't see it that much nowadays. Right? But little girls be groomed to eventually be hoes, or not even eventually be hoes, because guess what? Child trafficking exists globally. And I want to stress that sex work is not the same as child trafficking. Consenting adults performing sex work is not the same as people, evil people, sex trafficking children, okay? Sex trafficking is a very, very serious crime, and it needs to be stopped. This is still going on globally today as we speak. This is going on. This is a very ongoing issue. It's a very dangerous ongoing issue, because little girls are dying every day from being sex trafficked, and nobody is stopping it. Why? Because governments from other countries, from these third world countries or whatever, or even these countries, even in America, even here in America, it's happening. It's happening here in America too. It's happening here. It's happening right in your neighborhoods. It's happening right in your neighborhoods. Children. 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 That includes teenagers. 13 to 19. Even though 18 and 19 are technically considered as adults. But children as young as toddlers in some countries are being sex trafficked. And the reason why it's not being stopped is because a lot of governments are profiting from it, from the money of it. Do your research. Do your own research. I don't know how to do that fancy stuff where you put the stuff on the screen. That I still got to get my editing skills down pat. Bear with me, y'all. But yes, governments are profiting from children being sex trafficked, and the shit is sick. But in the same breath, here in America, you have SESTA and FOSTA, where they're trying to criminalize sex workers for doing their job consensually. Weird. So I basically just want to close out and say that whether you whether you want to label yourself as a hoe or not, or as a sex worker or not, please understand that engaging in acts of sex work technically makes you a sex worker / adult entertainer. And there's nothing wrong with it. In fact, you should honor that so that you don't feel confused, so that you don't feel ashamed. You shouldn't feel ashamed of that. I would highly, highly suggest to get my book, How to Be a Confident Hoe, because slut shaming is over. There's samples up on Google. They're for free. You can look at the samples for yourself. I've even read samples of my book on a couple of other YouTube videos. You probably have to look on it. But yeah, my book is really just about building your self-esteem. That's all it really is about. So if you're just new to all of this, I highly, highly suggest for you to purchase my book. You can purchase it on my website, or you can purchase it on Amazon. And I just want to also say that being a confident hoe, aka being a confident healer on earth, is not just meant for women or women that are in the adult entertainment industry. It's not even only meant for just adult entertainers in general, whether you're a woman or a man that's an adult entertainer. I have my organization, ConfidentHoeSociety, where it's for all women and LGBTQIA individuals whether in the adult entertainment industry or not. But ultimately, being a confident hoe is for all adults. Okay? It's literally saying being your most confident self. That's it. Just being 100% confident, being true to who you are, being honest with yourself, and all that good shit. Okay? Not giving a what anybody says about you or what anybody thinks about you. Because if you let other people's opinions and judgments control you, other people's thoughts and opinions and judgments would be your jail. Okay? So I'm closing out with that. Thank you so much for watching this episode or being a subscriber to my YouTube. I appreciate you. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider doing so. Thank you. It would mean so much to me. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, definitely comment your thoughts, your honest thoughts on this video. Remember, keep it cute or keep it on mute. So yeah, just again, thank you so much, everyone. And remember, be a confident hoe, ladies.